Welcome back to the NAO show. We have a fantastic lineup for you. I'm hosted with my hosts, Marky Mark and Mike. But first, before we get into anything, Mark, how long have you been colluding with Evan? And how long did it take you and him to come up with, oh, I'll just put a guy back on your team. Just go ahead and say.
Well,
we lose a commissioner and you just take full power into your own hands. Okay.
You got to know how much and, when to send it. Got to have the address, got to have the pop money or whatever account you want to call
it. Well, you heard it here first on the NAO show. Breaking news. You can buy the commissioner of the league.
Get the info down and you got it, man.
I hope Josh Reynolds was worth it.
What was the going rate for a crappy wide receiver? All right. We got a lot on the show, a lot on the docket. We're going to talk Wall of Shame and what the latest trades in the league were. All right, Marky Mark, let's get started.
All right, let's start with the trades. We had just one kind of small one here to talk about. Between the usual suspects, Two a Time and Silly Dilly.
Oh, okay. I bet this is a real good trade. Go ahead.
Yeah. Silly Dilly received Dalton Keene, a 2022 second rounder, and pick 40 in the 2021 draft. And Two a Time received pick number 18.
Ooh.
Sean, start us off with your thoughts on that trade.
Well, my first and foremost thought is, who the heck is that guy? Who's Keene? What position does he play? What team is he on? Because I think Dylan knows something that I don't, which is...
I think we can guess what team he was on pretty quick.
I bet I can. The fact that he knows something that I don't isn't very shocking. I don't know much. Yes, I said it. But, yeah, I had to look him up to see who he was.
Yeah.
I think that pick 18 is going to do really good. I hope I snipe him twice right before it. What do you think there, Mike?
I think my biggest piece of analysis, if you will.
Ooh, big words.
I think what Silly Dilly was going after here was the greatest white guy stash in the league. And I think that Dalton Keene might have it. He's not higher than Gio Bernard, clearly. But white guy stash, I think that's what he traded for, and he got a good one.
You know what would really add to that white guy stash?
Points per mustache league.
Mustache league. I think he needs the crown, the cherry on top, the Alamo, as you might say. Edelman. Come with it there, Dylan. I'll give you Edelman.
Yeah,
cheap.
He seems to be collecting Patriots, so maybe he would take Julian off your hands.
He's actually a starter.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe.
He said he wasn't sure if he'd be ready for the season.
Well, on that note, let's go to the next thing.
If that's the case, then is he even there anymore? But yeah, I was. This wasn't too far off on the calculator or anything. Not a real big deal here, but I think Ian did well to get pick 18. That's in a deep wide receiver class. That's a good pick to have. To me, I was a little disappointed to see Dylan give that up to get a second rounder for next year. All he gets for this year is Keene, who's going into his second year. Maybe he's looking for the next Gronkowski. I think a lot of Patriots are looking for the next Gronk, Pick 40 doesn't really help him this year. I don't think Dalton Keene helps him this year. Maybe he makes some progress, but a lot of times it's a 3-year deal if they're gonna do it. And so, yeah, I was a little disappointed to see he gave up what could have been a good wide receiver in the draft to get two guys that probably won't help him any. Well, two pieces that won't help him any this year. So not a real big deal on this one, but Ian got him another second rounder there. So
I think to put a bow on this, as they say, Dylan, we love having you in the league. And I think everybody can agree that we're all looking for the next Gronk. As fantasy owners, if you don't want Gronk in his rookie years when he's going crazy with Tom Brady, you are high as a kite. So if he thinks he's the next Gronk and he's going to pull one on everybody, more power to him.
I think a lot of people think that, they want that next big tight end in the Belichick system, but they also picked that Asiasi guy. So we don't really know who the guy's going to be at this point. So, I mean, it's probably taking a flyer on him. But
as a counterpoint to that, if he was looking to increase his tight end position, I think there's a tight end in the draft that he might have been able to get at 18 that would pretty benefit him.
Who are you thinking?
The guy from that really crappy team, Florida.
I don't think he's going to last that long.
He wasn't getting by me at 12.
There's
my draft analysis for everybody.
Yeah. Now, maybe the second tight end.
To no surprise to anyone.
I'm seeing most people's consensus second is that Freiermuth from Penn State. Is it Penn State? I think that's where he's from. That's kind of the consensus. Number 2, he might have gotten him there, but then that would have been probably too early to pick him. So
he wasn't going to get past me at 12.
Like
says.
I don't
even need a tight end, but if he's there, I'm taking him.
Yeah, no kidding, man. No kidding.
Yeah.
I hope it works out for him. We'll see what happens, but I just feel like it's not much to help him for this season. So, well, you guys want to move on?
That'll help him. That's all.
Yeah.
That mustache. Mike, we got to get Mark to grow a beard in the offseason, regardless of how it looks.
Maybe
I'm growing my beard until the Bucks lose a football game again.
I'll give me one of those Santa Claus beards and I'll wear it one time. How about that?
Hey.
I'm not growing one, though. Good luck with that.
Well, Mike, you want to explain the wall of shame for us and get us kicked off?
Well, hopefully everybody on a daily basis goes to the website that Ian labors over hours a day, I'm sure.
But, while he's at work.
Yeah, that's where all the Excel. That's a good idea. I just had. We should start archiving every chart that Ian posts in chat and post it to the website.
I don't think there's enough gigabytes on the internet for that.
That's true. That was an ambitious project.
Maybe we could put Evan on that.
Yeah, probably could. Yeah. But for now, anyway, the Hall of Shame, we're documenting the worst of the worst, the most shameful that's gone on all season. And we already have a small list here, but don't worry, everybody, all the faithful listeners. Don't worry. Everything's still up for a vote. You can nominate things. You can throw things out there. So, Evan, I know you're a weekly listener. Let's hear what you got. But let's start running down these. You want to? Just the ones the ones that we came up with?
We'll run down the rules at the end of it, but let's go over what we got so far.
Who wants to go first?
Let's let Sean start it off.
Well, number 1 on the wall of shame. Starting a player who scored negative points. Multiple entries into this one. We got the champion Tua time in there. We got the RIP Jay Hill and Run It Back 2020 representing this category. For Tua time, we have Kendall Hinton. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yep, Kendall Hinton.
Wide receiver / quarterback. I couldn't say it straight. Sorry. I think he started quarterback for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
And he got a whopping negative 2.78 points that really, really did my heart a lot of real happiness for Tua time. You can take that and shove it. For the RIP J Hill, Tevin Coleman, running back. Week 13, he had a negative 1.10 points. And our boy A-Bomb, running back 2020, Jerick McKinnon, running back, negative 0.10 points. What do you guys think? That was a lot. A lot of reading.
I love Ian's the best because he thought he'd be clever and take advantage of him being listed as a wide receiver, put him in his flex, but I'm going to get quarterback points out of him. And he got squat. He passed it like 8 times that game, I think, didn't he? And I think, what did he completed one pass out of all that?
Too bad Ian didn't get points for every time the guy got sacked.
Yeah.
He would have had more points.
Gosh, who did they play? Was it Chicago they played that game? Or yeah, wasn't it Chicago? Because no, it was
New Orleans.
It was New Orleans because Taysom Hill ran the ball, I think, more than Kamara that game.
I got a hot take.
Just an ugly game.
New Orleans had a pretty good defense last year.
Yeah. And he started him against New Orleans.
What a dum-dum.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I'd like to keep that one in there, I think. That's for sure. I mean,
that's a gold star next to that.
Yeah, I think, it looks like, though, unfortunately, Steele won. Hill won. So running back was the only one to lose the week that he scored negative points, but still, position players scoring negative points, that's got to go up there.
Yeah. The other two being running backs is a little more understandable. That I think they got hurt early in the game. And
I think both of them did, yeah.
Yeah, and so they didn't get a chance to go to the positive side of the ledger there.
All right, on to number 2. Mark, kick it.
Yeah. So this one was dropping the Cowboys D only to pick up the Jets D.
This one might be my favorite because I think it's actually pinned in chat still, possibly. Yeah. I think that this one is one of the original Wall of Shame entries just for that.
Yeah. Why was anybody looking at the Jets D? And then they put them up on the trade block later on, right?
Like they were going to get anything out of that.
Man, I think I meant to make an offer for them. Dang it. Oh,
I think they really dodged a bullet for that one.
I think they dropped them now. Maybe I can get them. I can get them free. I don't need to trade for them. Yeah.
Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and go pick them up.
Actually, somebody has the Jets.
Get out of here. No one's got the Jets.
Oh, got the team 1.
R.I.P.
Oh, okay. Now, not that the Cowboys were great by any means, but they certainly were worlds ahead of the Jets defense.
Mm-hmm.
Which ain't saying much.
Yeah, that one I would say, I think that one should stay. I'm all for that one. Mike, what's the next one on the list here?
The next one is, I guess, also take your pick on which one we're talking about. So we'll have to explain slightly. Is the trade.
The trade. Dun, dun,
the trade.
Dun.
Well,
so, I know we've gone over some egregious trades on this show.
Not in this league. Everybody uses calculators. They do a fair trade. Everybody's happy. There's nothing ever to talk about.
So the one we're going after here is between Silly and Steele.
Which one, Michael?
Yeah. Over here. James White, James Washington, N'Keal Harry, and Damian Harris for a 2021 first round, which we just learned turned out to be a pretty decent pick for.
Number 4?
A 2021 second round pick, a 2021 fourth round pick, a 2021 second round pick, which actually does he still have that one? Because that's pick 11.
Pick 11. You guys, look it up. I'm not sure if he still got that. I think he traded away pick 14. That was the other second round pick he got.
No, he still has pick 14 because he wouldn't give it to me.
Yeah, 2021 second round.
He's got pick 14, pick 18, which he just got in that last trade that we were just talking about.
They must have traded away pick 11. Wonder what he got out of that.
Probably a sturdy handshake from Dylan.
Yeah, he gave back the fourth rounder after there was a lot of after the kerfuffle. Should we call it the kerfuffle that arose? The ruckus. We'll call it a ruckus.
It was totally 100% a ruckus.
Yeah.
A ruckus arose after that trade, and it all was pretty shameful because it caused me a lot of headaches that I
just
could have
want to
done without.
say, for all that I said in the chat about that trade, Mark was 4 feet away from me, and I was yelling at him exactly what I was saying in the chat.
Dude, that's right. We were hanging out, having a good old time, watching football, drinking some beers. He just ruined the whole freaking night.
I'm watching the Bucks beat some ass in the playoffs, you know. I'm having a good time watching it, and all of a sudden this comes across. What the beep 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 beep.
And then every time we settled down about it, one of us would bring it up. I can't believe you made that trade.
It's a good laugh now.
Oh, well, it was a good learning moment for the league. So, but that one definitely should probably stay on the wall of shame and be an example for years to come, seasons to come. Sean, why don't you give us the next one? Let's move on from that.
All right, the next one after the trade is the lowest score of 2020, tied with 61 points. We have 2 people, Mick Jammer in the playoffs. Horrible time to throw up 61 points there, cousin. And RIP, Jay Hill, week 10.
All right, you guys want to move on to the next one? Or?
61 points in the playoffs, Mark? Didn't you trade away a first-round pick to get depth for the playoffs? How'd that work out for you?
I traded away 2 first-round picks to get depth for the playoffs. I got Deontay Johnson with the first, and I got Chris Godwin with the first. And now I got squat coming up in this draft, and I got squat in the playoffs. So,
hey, Chris Johnson is going to be a pretty good Chris Johnson.
Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin is going to be a good little piece to have.
Yeah, I mean,
if we aren't able to keep him, they
were both good pieces moving forward. But there was the future in mind too with both of them. But yeah, that was it didn't. My evil plan failed miserably.
We've all been on the receiving end of those 61 pointers.
Poor Josh, he was doing that week after week, so that was just one of the lowest of the low.
Mm-hmm.
And the Miyagi King.
It ruined the Miyagi.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't even fun anymore because it was like, if Josh wins it, we won't even really talk about it.
All right, next point.
But yeah, those are some shameful scores right there for sure.
Speaking of shameful scores,
oh boy,
Mike, how about you go ahead and read the next one to us?
I just feel bad about this one.
Don't feel bad. Shoot it out there.
So the next one is Goofy lapping McJammer in the playoffs.
Mike, explain what lapping means.
That same week, McJammer scores 61. Goofy goes off for 138 points. Which,
golly,
I guess thinking about it, I might wrap them up into one. We'll see. I don't know, but yeah, that's a rough one.
I don't know. I think having it as scoring twice as many points as your opponent is such a hard and unknown feat for lots of people. I think it needs to be stated as one thing there, Mike.
I think the playoffs knock it into that, and I agree with you.
Oh man, if I scored 61 points in the playoffs, I would have just quit fantasy football. Whoever that guy was, I mean, one of them already did quit.
The most shameful thing about being lapped like that was that I sat Miles Sanders, who had been putting up single digits for several weeks in a row. And I kept on riding it out. And I was like, screw it, man. I'm not starting him this week. And what did he get? 28 points or something like that?
He had 2 touchdowns in the first half.
The first week that Jalen Hurts played. And he goes off finally. We wouldn't be talking right now about this if I had started Miles Sanders.
Funny side story. I'm sitting there in the living room with Mark. And every time a little stat comes across the bottom of the TV about Miles Sanders, Mark gets up and gets all freaking Miles Sanders didn't start him. He was all PO'd. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was disappointing to keep seeing him doing well. Sean knows. I don't know if everybody else knows. I I don't watch the scores. I don't look at it while the games are on because I tend not to enjoy the games as much, but you can't avoid the stats coming across the bottom. So I'm kind of doing math in my head and kind of figuring out who's doing what. And it's funny, I'll check the scores after the 4 o'clock games are over and kind of see where I stand. But I already have a pretty good idea just by seeing the stats come across. But yeah, I was not happy seeing Sanders did this and Sanders did that. And every time you see it, he's got more yards. And I'm like, son of a bitch. So not a fun. That was not a good way for me to end the season for sure.
It's all right. We got another season there, Marky Mark.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next one.
Yeah, this is a fun one for me because I've been giving him a lot of crap about this. Rostering Sandro Platzkummer multiple times. Our buddies, the underdogs. I'll bet Brandon would say, it wasn't me, it was Evan. It was Evan.
It actually was. I'm looking at the transaction history here. So he was added by Evan on September 23rd, 2020, way early into the season. Finally dropped him October 19th, only to pick him back up again December 30th. Dropped him again on January 9th. And he's still on for everybody to go after right now.
Ooh.
Allow me.
We just lost all of our listeners. They're on. They're going.
Yeah, they're all running to waivers.
Let's give them a second to come back from that waiver pickup.
Yeah, I remember them getting a lot of crap on chat about it. That was a fun chat. That was the first time they picked him up, and I think they kind of quietly dropped him, and then they tried to quietly pick him back up. But we're not going to let them forget it, man. It's got to go on the wall of shame. I think this one stays. What do you think, guys?
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
I mean,
well,
what was he from Austria? Right? He was. I think the guy was from Austria.
He's part of like the international player program or something like that.
Yeah. I don't think any of those guys have really ever done anything. But I mean, I think there was one guy from Britain. We had a guy from the Cowboys. He was defensive lineman. Can't remember his name now, but he was from Great Britain. And he played for a minute or two, but then he was gone too. So yeah, it's tough, man. These guys are still catching up. I'm glad to see him playing football overseas, and I'm glad to see it picking up popularity, but it's just not the same as it is in the States right now.
Well, on to the next point. It's great sadness in my heart.
We don't want to make Mike read this one.
This next point.
Should make Mike read this one. Should have made me read mine.
Being in the playoffs from week 3 until week 11 and finishing in the bottom 4. Mike, that was you, man.
That's pretty cool, actually, when you think about it.
Cool in what way?
This one's especially shameful because, I'm sure we're all in other fantasy leagues, and this has probably come up before. This happened to me in 2 leagues this year. Happened to me in 2 leagues. And the other one, I was first overall for 1 week. And then I plunged to the bottom half almost immediately, all at the same time. So,
Mike, remind me who won that league.
My wife won that one.
Your wife, the person you live with, that won't ever let you live that down. Got it.
Yeah, 6 touchdowns from Kamara will do that for you. Right, Goofy?
Yeah. Week after the championship. Poor guy.
I would have been so mad if I was Goofy watching Kamara go off like that, only waiting all year for that to happen, and the week after the championship, he actually does it. Yeah,
that's why a little luck doesn't hurt for sure. Maybe his was a little bad luck, unfortunately, and it was perfect for your wife.
Yeah.
Because she was done. I mean, that was a Christmas game, right? And then they had several games after, but she was done. She was just sitting back like, let me just see how many points I score because I know I got this. Yeah.
Well, Mike, hit that next one for us, big guy.
One more point. This is why I tell people, diversify your portfolio. We end up picking the same guys across all leagues. and I've had to fight it because you know the draft kind of they shake out the same a lot of times, and you end up with a lot of the same guys. I learned though, man, you got to like McCaffrey's a great example. I had him in 3 leagues this year,
Mhm.
and it killed me. It just killed me, you know.
I think
Where was he for you on 3 leagues? He was on that bench.
Yeah, yeah. I made the playoffs in 2 of those, at least 2. No, yeah, 3 of them. I made playoffs in 3 of them, but he wasn't there playing for me either. So there's no way I'm getting a championship with my best guy down. Yeah, so I was that it's really I'm really trying harder not to make the same picks across multiple leagues, so that
yeah,
you
I had Zeke in both, and I refused to. I pretty much refused to set him in this one. Couldn't set him in the other one.
yeah, yeah. I think that's a lot of it though. You had a lot of the same guys in those
Mhm.
leagues, and it just if one tanks, they're both going to tank on you. Little friendly advice. All right, who's got the next one? I think I got the next one, right?
Yeah.
All right. So this one was drafting Lamar Jackson, number 2 overall, followed by 6 guys not on NFL rosters and a fullback. And that was our buddy Skippy. I don't know. What do you think about this one, Sean?
Well, after
This was Ian. Ian suggested this one.
yes, Ian, that guy, 2 a time.
2 a time.
Send your hate mail towards him at Steely, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Send all your hate towards him. All right. So during the draft, I'm talking to A-Bomb, which is running back 2020, and our boy Mike, and Lamar Jackson comes off the board, and I'm losing it. I'm like, why is Lamar Jackson blah 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 coming off and blah blah? It was just showing how much I didn't know about dynasty football. When after the draft, I did some research, and Mike did some research, and he sent me an article saying that like a lot of dynasty people will go and get these quarterbacks early in the first round because you're going to have a solid quarterback for 10 years, you know? You're never going to have to worry about it. So when I first saw it, I thought it was asinine. After actually doing research and figuring out that it wasn't asinine, Lamar Jackson just had a down year from a year that he was never going to replicate anyways. So
Yeah, good point.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
And I think the rest of the way that we worded this one anyway is kind of off as well, because it's not like he drafted Lamar Jackson and then started drafting fullbacks. I think he drafted his fullback in round 29, you know, amongst others like, you know, Dexter Williams got drafted around there. You know, like we're not talking he drafted a fullback in round 2 or anything like that. Actually, at some point, I think we all probably drafted somebody not on an NFL team at the time, at one point or another in this draft. But yeah, I might actually move to strike this one from the record.
Yeah, I think we can speak for the whole NAO show and say this one needs to be taken off the board here.
Yeah, if he finished in last place, that'd be one thing, but he actually was tied for the 4th playoff spot and lost it by points. And so
he destroyed me in the whatever bowl like twice in a row.
Yeah, that's another good point. He won the games he had to win to get into the playoffs. It was just so did, you know, Aaron, and by points scored is the only reason he didn't make it.
Yeah.
So his, you know, draft couldn't have been too bad.
And just wait, Lamar Jackson next year, he's going to come back. He's not going to have the year that he had last year. And we're all going to be like, man, I wish I had Lamar Jackson on my team, unless you're Mike and he has freaking Mahomes.
What was interesting to me, I remember looking at it. So what if Skippy didn't make the playoffs? Well, if he'd have been the 4th seed, he would have still lost to 2 a time. But his point total that first week would have beaten me easily, and it would have beaten Goofy. And so, you know, that's how close he was to doing a little something more this year. So I agree with you, Mike. If he'd have finished last or something, I might say, okay, yeah, that's pretty shameful what he did there. But I don't think there's any shame in being 7-6 and just missing the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely.
So the draft didn't kill him, didn't hurt him. All right. Who's got the next one? I think it's you, Sean, right?
All right. Starting Taysom Hill like a smarty pants, and due to a stat correction, losing by 0.04 points in week 11 to our co-host, Marky Mark. Marky Mark, how'd it feel waking up?
Incidentally, the last week I enjoyed this league because it was pretty bad after that. Even though I did win the third place match, I had some rough weeks leading up to the playoffs, man. So, yeah, that was nice. That was nice for me. Yeah, I kind of agree with this one because they had Tannehill on their bench, and when he says started them like a smarty pants, yeah, they were trying to get a little clever there with Taysom. When Tannehill would have gotten them the win easily, they wouldn't have lost by a stat correction. So, I think that's pretty shameful.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is that they have AJ Brown and Corey Davis. Like, if Tannehill was throwing a touchdown, it was going to be to one of those guys, and he was going to get twice the points.
What do they call that? A stack or something like that?
Yeah.
Seems like a thing in fantasy.
Yeah. I wouldn't know. I didn't know you had to draft Lamar Jackson number 2.
Yeah.
You know who really does know what a stack is? Mike's wife.
Yeah.
Anna.
Yeah.
He destroyed us in the family league with the Murray and D-Hop stack. I will always give her props for that, because during the draft, she's like, "Oh, I think I'm going to stack them." I'm like, "Oh, that's a horrible idea." Blah, blah, blah. She destroyed everybody in the playoffs. All right, I digress. That still hurts a little bit.
Stacks are good. What'd you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think the stat correction is what puts it over the top for me.
Yeah.
I think starting Taysom Hill, even if you're being a little smart about it, it's not the worst decision. I mean, you're getting the starter on the Saints offense. You know, it's not like you can do worse. But I think the fact that it was trying to be a little smart and then getting stat corrected, I think is really what gets it for me. Yeah, especially by less than 1 point.
Basically,
less than half of a point.
That was a big difference between them being in the bottom 4 or the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were coming at the end of the season. They were winning quite definitively, and I thought they were going to go from bottom to top, and they were going to make the playoffs. And when the stat correction came out, I was like, "Yeah, that's karma for you." Got him.
Which actually goes right in timely to our next one, if you think about it here.
Go ahead and read it off, Mike.
Which is the underdogs losing 2 matchups by a combined 0.28 points and then missing the playoffs from it. Yeah, if you give them those 2 wins, suddenly they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, because they had the
stat points corrected, and yeah.
What were they, fourth in scoring, or was it higher than that even? What were they?
Yeah, they were pretty high points for.
I think all the 7-6 teams there, I think they were higher than all of them, which is where I think they could have finished, right? 7-6 maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's and then the other, so they lost the one by 0.04, but then the other one was the Titans game that was on late. And then I think Sean said something in chat about I think it was like jet sweep to AJ Brown. And I just remember in chat, Evan was like, "What are you talking about? Like, what?" Because all he needed was one more point or one. Just give the
one
ball
reception, right?
Yeah.
I know, but that's right.
I had said that.
And wasn't it from it was like the third quarter, and all he needed was one reception.
Yeah, it was a long time. He just needed one. Even just a catch for no yards gets him the win.
Right. One reception.
I remember
Sean's in there. Jet sweep to AJ Brown.
I remember the chat. There was 4 of us staying up to watch the game because it was so close. Yeah. And I was just man, they really just need to jet sweep it to AJ Brown. And Evan's like, they jet sweeped it to AJ Brown? What? Yes, got it. No, I was like, no, I think they should have done that. And he was so upset.
Oh,
Oh, that made me so happy.
I
He was
don't
so
know.
happy, and I tore it all away from him.
Oh, I don't know if it's shameful. We'll have to look at that one. I mean, they had a pretty decent season. They were just that close, you know. I don't know if we call that shameful or just bad luck, but we'll have to look at that one. I'll have to think that one over a little bit.
I put my vote on shameful. You
say?
know better. There's two of them.
Yeah.
They didn't. Yeah. Okay. Well,
It's shameful for the fact that they tried to start Hill.
Oh yeah, no, I'm all over that one.
And that is what helped this 0.28 points, you know?
Yeah.
If they just started their starters, they
Yeah.
would have never lost twice by less than half a point.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's go on to the next one. I guess I'll read this next one. Making 0 trades in a whole season by Skippy. What do you guys think about that? Does that seem shameful to you guys?
What do you got, Mike?
I'm gonna, right away, I'm gonna vote to strike this one off the record as well.
Huzzah! It is decided. Out of here.
A lot of the reasons for what we already talked about. Same about his draft. I mean, how shameful can it really be? 7-6 in the playoff hunt. It's not like he finished last with 2 wins or anything like that. But
we gotta put some respect on his name, Skippy Dog.
And I think some of it's hindsight, obviously, but that's something we'll talk about later with how the whole thing is kind of set up. But yeah, I don't think this one's too shameful. No, I would love to make trades with Skippy, but
yeah, Skippy, I would love to talk trades with you.
Well, I tend to agree. This is another one Ian brought up. This one he put on the list. Again, if he'd have finished in last place, then I'd say, yeah, you should have been making a few more moves there, dude. But just missed the playoffs and had a really decent season.
So, for everyone's reference, that is at Steely4689. He would love to hear all of your comments. Thank you.
In fact, I might add another one to the wall here and say
right now on the show.
Yeah, I think
breaking news.
We should vote on if Steele just hating on everything Skippy did this year. It should go on the wall of shame.
Yeah, I feel like it's more of I disagree with the way he does business. It doesn't mean he's doing it wrong. So yeah.
What is your hate for Skippy Dog? Come on.
Isn't there another way to get a hold of Steele? I think it's 1-800-SPANK-ME. Isn't that?
Yeah.
That
well, you would be the only one that would call that number.
Do tell.
Was it awkward, or were you happy that he answered the phone?
Cheers. All right, Sean.
All right.
Give us the next one.
Second to last one. The last one is a doozy, so stay tuned. All right. The Draft Review Podcast. We all know which one we're talking about. It was right after the vet draft, before the rookie draft. The non-neutral zone ranked the NAO draft. And let me tell you what, they were way off. They had themselves as 2 and 3. Mike, remind our fantastic viewers / listeners where they ended up this year.
I think, right at the bottom.
At the bottom?
At the bottom.
8 and 10, I think, right? 8 and 10, respectively.
Oh, okay, all right.
And they had Goofy down there. I think Goofy was ranked at 8th, maybe.
Wait, whoa. For our listeners and our viewers, Mike, tell us where Goofy ended up.
Yeah, Goofy, he was in the championship. I remember that. Yep.
The championship?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Man,
they had Skippy down low, too. I'm not sure where exactly, but he was down there low. And he
The only time that Goofy shows up on the wall of shame is because he scored too many points. Really.
And who is that against there, Mike?
All right, let's moving on.
I can't
Moving
remember
on,
that
guys.
part.
Moving on. Wait, no. You know what? He does show up again. Are we done?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, that's
Yes, he does.
Are we done? Are we done
final.
talking about the last one there?
Marky Mark, kick it.
All right.
This is one of my favorites.
The last one on the wall of shame is simply stated as, "All right, asshole." Excuse my language. Any kids listening? Sorry, guys. Yeah, the time that Tuatine gave Goofy a hard time for because I helped Goofy out with something. I can't even remember what the heck it was now. And Goofy came back in, starting his comment with, "All right, asshole."
And this is how we go full circle in this show. How much did Goofy send you there, Mark, to get that done for you?
nice.
Well, yeah, he was the first one to get me on the pop money, and for a long time, everybody thought that Goofy was my burner account, but really, Goofy was just the first one that got me paid. So
Jury's still out on the burner account, just so we all know.
Oh, we had him on the show, man. Everybody
He was
saw
a
him.
fantastic actor. I think you paid top dollar for him. He was real good.
Yeah, I had to give some of that money back, didn't I? Well, that's our wall of shame. Let me just tell you guys what we're going to do with this thing. So, thanks to Ian. We give him a lot of crap, but thanks to Ian
Fuck you too, Tom. All right,
for getting all this stuff on the site. We've been bugging him a lot about getting this thing going, especially Mike. I think Mike really wanted to see the wall of shame, and so he finally got busy on it. So what we did was the four of us came up with a bunch of things that we thought we'd start the wall of shame with. But if anybody has any disputes on it, we can vote on it. What we're going to do moving forward in the league is, if there is something that is shame worthy, we're going to do it kind of committee style, where one person will nominate something for the wall of shame. If it gets a second, then we'll put it to a league vote.
And we all know what league votes end up with.
Oh yeah.
People leaving the league.
With his football and going home. Sorry, American football going home.
Now the nomination and second process, that's per team. So underdogs, you can't nominate and second something. It's a per team thing.
Yeah, so, Evan, you need to get the okay from the owner, Brandon, before the GM, Evan, is able to put something out there.
There you go. So that's the way we'll do it.
Rules. Who invited that guy?
So that's how we'll do it. Nominate something, second it. We'll put it to a league vote. If we get a majority vote, it'll go on the wall of shame. So now that we have a lot of things that we've nominated for the wall of shame, you guys go to the NAO site and read them through. If there's anything you want to dispute, we can do the same thing, and we can remove some of these, which I think we've already decided a few of them might be going away. I don't know.
And if you have a real hot take, we'll have you on the show so you can talk crap to Ian.
Yeah.
We encourage that.
I definitely encourage that. I almost will pay for that. That's just good stuff.
Yeah. Anybody has any questions, just send me a DM and I'll straighten it out for you. But I think this is going to be fun. Be a good feature for our league and on the site.
Well, with that in mind, let's go into our next fantastic idea we've been cooking on the side. The Pro Bowl. Mike, Mark,
right.
who you guys want to talk about?
You want me to go?
Yeah, Mike, tell us about the Pro Bowl. It was you brought it up and I loved it. So let's hear about it.
I thought it could be kind of a cool thing, especially since it works out pretty well in the league, since we have I guess we do our championship week 1 week early, so it would be a nice thing to have going on when everyone else is enjoying their fantasy or championship week. There's still a lot to figure out, so if anyone has suggestions in chat, things we want to try to fit in, of course, let us know. But Right now, we're thinking kind of we split the league up to 5-team conferences. At the end of the season, you guys get together with your group of 5, basically just nominate a full roster, including all 3 flex spots from your entire group of team. And then it'll be a little bit of a manual scorekeeping at the end, but really it's kind of simple. We're trying to keep it as close to the Pro Bowl as we can get it. Everyone's team is eligible. We're thinking every team has to put in at least 1 person and then a max of 3.
And
So
when you say full roster, that's a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers,
yeah,
tight end,
3 flex, yeah,
defense, right?
and the defense, yeah. So what's that, 10?
Yeah. 10 spots, yep.
So yeah, an average of 2 players per team, but yeah, at least 1, no more than 3. But yeah, we have some things to figure out about it still, but I think it could sound pretty fun.
I liked your idea. We talked earlier about maybe we do random picks or maybe we draft it. I kind of like the draft idea. And we talked about, Mike, where the maybe the top team in the league and the bottom team in the league in the final standings.
Yeah, because the NFL eventually went to the Jerry Rice, Deion Sanders draft kind of thing, and less like year-to-year conferences or anything like that. So, yeah, I think that's a good idea though. The championship person, whoever wins, and whoever gets last place, their team captain for that year, and pick your team.
Yeah. So they draft it out until there's 5 on each side, and then it's you got a week between the championship and the next, what we're calling our Pro Bowl week, since we only do 2 weeks of playoffs, where you got some collaboration. You guys pick your 10 and stay within those guidelines of at least 1 per roster and no more than 3 per roster. And sounds like it's going to be a kind of a fun time.
Yeah, I think as it is, we have a lot to hash out, but we wanted to throw it out to the league. And I know a lot of the league listens and watches this show either while they're at work, Evan, get back to work, and or what have you. And if you guys have comments, concerns, ideas, throw them out there in the chat. It's out there for everybody. This is for everybody, just like this show. We just want to make this Dynasty League as great as it can be and more fun every other day, We want it to be fun and keep people in. R.I.P. J. Hill.
Yeah, so, I think it could be pretty fun. I think one of the things that we haven't all the way figured out is what does the winner get? Of course, there's bragging rights. There's trash talking for the rest of this, the off season. But I think it'd be kind of cool if we can think of something that the winning conference gets that year.
I know there was a talk of splitting up the commissioners and making them captains. Is that something that's still in the books?
Yeah, we thought about that, but then kind of shifted into the drafting of each one. So the winner in last place gets to draft.
Yeah, we'll go with the consensus as always. But yeah, if the guys decide they want the commissioners to choose to do the draft, we can do that. But I kind of like the idea of the first and last place teams being the captains and drafting it out. But that's something we can take some input on and decide as a league, as we do most things.
Just shooting from the hip, like I always do, we could come up with something where we do a Pro Bowl MVP and we can send it to the person that scores the most points in that game.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, we could do something like that.
Not something gaudy like a stupid Super Bowl ring like somebody got.
Yeah.
But we can come up with something cool.
I suggested, Mike and I were talking about earlier, maybe doing the 5 losers have to send the 5 winners something. Could be like I thought a little food, something to do with food or something, like. What's the look there, Sean?
People sending not very acceptable things through the mail.
We want to make it fun, a little food package, a little snack package or something like that, something that we agree on. Could be through Amazon, so one loser picks one winner and they have to send it to them.
I was thinking something along the lines that was a little less acceptable.
Yeah. Well,
I won't say on the show. Off air, I'll totally tell you, but not on air.
We'll look forward to your many suggestions, but I'm saying you, Sean, your many suggestions, but
Oh, my many suggestions.
yeah, I'm sure you got plenty.
I have a list.
Yeah, but it should be. I think it would be a lot of fun if it was sort of like a bet,
Yeah.
No draft picks. We're not betting draft picks.
Ah,
I think we covered that
already.
More headaches that I don't need, but we can make it like a bet where losers have to pay up to the winners. That'd be fun, man.
Yeah. So, thanks for listening to our show. Thank you for Mark. Thank you to Mike for being on the show. Once again, we'll be here again. Keep your bat eye to the sky for that signal. Oh yeah. Ian, you suck.